and good day everyone. So welcome to our video discussion for the second quarter module 4 of our subject English for academic and professional purposes, which is titled with the objectives and structures of various kind of report. But before we start our report, let me introduce myself or let me introduce our group. First, we are the group 4 of 12 ABM1 and I am the leader, Jamila A. Mantilla, here along with my fellow members. We have Sheena Maranga, More Hanelin, Pabadora Giselle, Pitaliar Vanis, Robles Justin, and lastly, Christian Polvera. So that would be all the members of the group 4. Now let's proceed on our discussion, but first let's know the objectives. So first we have determine the objectives and structures of various kind of reports. Second, understand the basics principle of writing a report in detail, including what information it contains and how it is formatted or organized. So that is for the objective of our report. Next, let's proceed on the discussion itself. So a report is a clearly structured form of writing which presents and analyzes information precisely and briefly for a particular audience. So many scholars have defined reports as any informational work made with the intention to relay information, recounting certain events in a presentable manner, usually conveyed in a form of writing, television, speech, and films. To create a good report, it should have the characteristic which is accurate, complete, and objective. It also should be a well-written, clearly construct, and expressed in a way that holds the reader's attention and meets their expectation. Report communicates information which has been compiled as a result of research and analysis of data of an issue. Unlike essay, which is written in a single narrative form from start to finish, reports has each section has its own purposes and should be needed to be written in a particular style that needs to suit. For example, the methods and results sections are mainly descriptive, whereas the discussion section needs to be analytical. Always remember that you may be required to write several different types of reports, so it would be better if you could understand them very well. So that is all for what is a report. Now let's move forward to the different kinds of reports. So a report has three kinds, which first we have the technical and business report, second the field report, and third and lastly the scientific report. So the first kind of report is the technical and business report. So what is this report? So technical writing is a form of writing technical communication or documentation in science and technology or applied science that help people understand a product or a service. The main purpose of technical report is to form and trigger the person into actions, such as purchasing a product or service. Its purpose may also be to persuade people, but never to entertain. So in a technical and business report, the content of it should be factual and straightforward. It also expresses in a formal, standard, or academic language. The write-ups uses specialized vocabularies and follows a set of rules and convention. So, technical report is kind of strict. However, it is very useful for people, especially to the disciplined and to the applied focus of technical report, which is the engineering, the information technology, commerce, and the accounting and finance. This will set report writing assignments that stimulates the process of reports writing in industries. So that is the technical report. And now let's move forward to the next kind of report, which is the field report.
A field report is a methodological and dated account of our observation, data, information collected during the research conducted in a natural settings, typically outside of the laboratory or controlled environment. It plays a crucial role in facilitating the development of data collected techniques in the process of observation. Discipline with an applied focus such as law, psychology, nursing, and education, because this discipline have a direct impact on the lives and well-being of individuals and communities. So the field reports in law is focused on practical applications of a legal principles, and sa psychology naman is often to involves conducting experiment or observation in the real world settings, and sa nursing is primary aim to observe and analyze the provision of healthcare services in real life settings. The last one is the education. It involves observing and analyzing teaching, practice, curriculum development, and student learning in educational settings. So, when you're writing a field reports, you need to the first is you need to systematically observe the accurately record and varying aspects of situation. And the second one is continuously analyze your observation and always look for the meaning underlying the actions you observe. And the third one is keep the report's aims in mind while you are observing. Recording what you observe should not be done randomly or hazardly, and you must be focused on pay attention to the details. And the last one is continuously observe, record, and analyze what you hear and see the context of the theoretical framework.
So, first and foremost, we have the note-taking, which is the very easiest and the most comprehensive and the most convenient way for us to gather informations. So, note-taking is the most common and the most easiest method recording your observation, because in your own writings, in your own wordings, you can all simplify the lessons that are being tackled, and also the events or what you call this situations that you were in, and then you can take down notes and use also symbols, letters, words that can easily comprehend you in any matter. Okay, so now let us proceed to the second technique of gathering information, which is the photography. As we all know that by the use of our technologies such as smartphones, and almost unlimited high-quality images can be captured. As we all know also that nowadays in our generations have access to our technologies and also have smartphones on themselves, so they can easily capture the events or the informations that was happened in that day. So that is why it is also convenient for us by the help of our technology nowadays. As we all know that today is very high-tech and our generations have become more independent on our technologies. Okay, now we are done with our second technique of gathering information. Let us proceed now to video and audio recording. Video and audio recording your observation has a positive effect on giving you an unfiltered record of the observation event. It also facilitates repeated analysis of your observation. This can be particularly helpful as you gathered additional informations or insights during the research. So, as I tackled of the second technique, which is the photography, this audio and video recording have similarities and also have differences, because video also shows pictures and images, while it is also the same as photography. But video and audio can be repeated and can be what you call this fast forward. And video can capture moving objects, while the image or the photography is only focusing on the image itself, while the recording and the audio is focusing on the real voice or the what the person is talking. So, for example, now, or I am discussing you this type of techniques. This is also a technique of gathering information because today I am using the video and audio recording. Okay, now let's proceed to the last technique, which is the illustration. Illustration, this does not refer to an artistic endeavor, but rather refer to the positive need. Its main purpose is to help the viewer understand or imagine some things better. So, when it comes to illustration, for example, your math teachers discuss about something, or let's just say your math teacher is discussing something, some lessons. So, your teacher, to comprehend the students more, your teacher uses what you call an pie illustration or a graph illustration so that the students can understand more what had been tackled. Also, when we say illustrations, it is to simplify a broad topic so that the reader or someone who watches it can understand the information directly or clearly. So that would be all for techniques on gathering of data. And thank you for joining with me today and have a good day.
Scientific report. These reports use a standard scientific report format describing methods, results, and conclusions to report an open empirical investigation. The purpose of a science report is to clearly communicate your key message about why your scientific findings are meaningful. So the primary goal of a scientific report is to effectively convey the significance of scientific findings. This involves explaining the rationale behind testing a hypothesis, detailing the methodology employed, presenting the results, and articulating the meaning and relevance of the findings. The key to a successful science report lies in establishing a clear connection between the introduction and the analysis or discussion, ensuring a seamless flow of information from the initial research question to interpretation of results. So, these disciplines with an applied focus such science and social science. The scope and style of reports varies widely. It depends on three key factors. First, the report's purpose. Second, the report's intended audience. Third, the type of information or subject to be communicated.
Now, under the scientific report, we have the research report, which is the recorded data prepared by the researcher or the statistician after analyzing the information gathered by conducting organized research. And the research report has 6 different parts. First, we have the introductory phase. Second, the review of related literature. Third, the research methodology. Fourth, the body of the report. Fifth, the conclusion. And lastly, the recommendation. Now, let's proceed on the introductory phase.
Introductory phase, it contextualizes and resets the tone and direction of research writing. According to Redman 2001, it answers the following questions. First, what was I studying? Second, what did we know about this topic before we studied? Third, and how the study advanced new knowledge or new ways of understanding. Its purpose is to familiarize individuals with key aspects such as goals, objectives, roles, and basic concepts, setting the stage for successful progression. The introductory phase creates a framework for understanding and navigating subsequent stages by offering a clear and comprehensive introduction to the subject at hand. The introductory phase serves as fundamental stages in any process or undertaking. Its role is to provide strong foundation, familiarize individuals with essential elements, and create a framework for successful progression. This phase is crucial in establishing shared understanding and facilitating a smooth transition into subsequent stages, contributing for the overall success of the individual.
A research title has to get the attention of the readers. In other words, it must be catchy. Being catchy does not mean sacrificing the main message or idea of your report. Hence, according to Silverman 2006 339, choose a title that catches the reader attention while properly informing them about the main focus on your research. Silverman 2006 206 is suggesting a two-parts title containing a stimulating title applying a present participle signifying action and a subtitle which is more descriptive. Example: stimulating titles. Have you ever experienced being bullied? And descriptive title is a study on the perception of the victim of the bullying in primary school. Next, research abstract. A research abstract is a vital component of a report, as it provides the readers with a snap view of what you expect from it. The abstract gives a synopsis of the objective and result of the reports to be described in details from in the body of the reports. Silverman 2006 identified what an abstract should contain. First, research problem. This aspect identifies the core issue or question that the research aims to address. It explicitly outlines the problem the study seeks to investigate, providing a clear context for the research. Second, significance and value of the problem. This abstract should convey why the research problem is important or relevant. It outlines the significance of addressing this particular issue, emphasizes its implication for the field of study or wider societal relevance. This helps readers understand the content and importance of the research. Third, data and methods utilized. This section briefly describes the method and the data collection techniques employed in the research. This provides a concise overview of the research design, sampling method, and the data analysis approach. The fourth is the main finding. The abstract summarizes the key finding or result of the research. It presents the main outcomes in the condensed form, providing a snapshot of what the study has discovered or concluded. This gives readers an insight into the core result without delving into the full report. Then the last one is the implication in the light of others. These parts discuss how the finding of the research contribute to the next or to the existing body of knowledge. It may highlight connection with previous studies, contrast results, or suggest new direction for future research. Understanding the broader implications helps readers contextualize the significance of the research within the academic or practical landscape. Remember, a research abstract has a word limit. The most common word limit is 100. This is challenging part of writing a report because it is difficult to write the many things that you want to impart in just a few words. The next, list of contents. A list of contents is a useful component. A report as it guides the reader to find their way through the different parts of reports. Hence, the consistency of the page number with the parts of the report is vital. Inconsistent page numeral or numbering will result to the reader's confusion.
The introduction. The introduction acquaints the readers with the what, why, and how the report. According to Marcos 1997, P1 as cited in Silverman 2006, answering the questions below would lead you to the development of the introduction. First question is, what is the research all about? Why have you chosen this topic rather than the other topics? Next is, why are you interested in this topic? 4. How will you undertake the research? 5. What kind of research approach will you utilize? And the last question is, what are your research questions or problems? So for you to understand, the introduction is the first section that sets up the structure of the report and tells the reader what is to come and in what order. The introduction discusses the importance of significance of the research or problem to be reported, define the purpose of the report, outline the issues to be discussed or scope. Next is inform the reader of any limitation to the report or any assumptions made. It is a key section that reminds the reader of the key criteria that investigate the report creation or helps reader follow certain key points of the report. Next is the review of literature. Review of literature provides study background and environment. The intention of RRL is to locate the study in its area of discipline and reveal its relevance and significance of the environment. Silverman 2008 recommends the following points: focus only on studies that are vital and relevant in finding your research problem. Organize what you say in the form of an argument rather than a simple description of the studies. So a review of literature in reports provides a comprehensive understanding of existing knowledge on a specific topic, critically analyze the information, and present it in an organized and structured manner to the object to support of your report. Research methodology. In research, the research process is important as the research content. Thus, a research report must also contain a description of the research strategy. Silverman 2008 pointed out that the readers would be interested to know the following: research topic, case you have studied, research methods you have chosen to use, how you have analyzed the data. Research methodology in order for you to answer questions such as, is your methodology, approach, or the research problem, how did you reach the conclusion? You have to be familiar with and knowledgeable with the following data you have studied. How to obtain those data? What claims are you making about the data? Methods you have used to gather the data and why you have chosen these methods. Next is how you have analyzed your data. So for you to understand, in the context of various kinds of reports, the research methodology typically forms a part of method section in the part of structure, which is often referred to as IMRAD, the introduction, method, results, and discussion. The method section outlines the research methodology, including the techniques, procedures, and tools as to gather and analyze the data. It provides the detailed description of how research was conducted, allowing the reader to understand the validity and reliability of the findings. For instance, in an analytical report, the research methodology helps the readers come to the conclusion the author expects. The research methodology plays a crucial role in establishing the credibility and trustworthiness of the report's finding.
Writing your data. The most essential part of the report is writing about the data collected through your research. Two important areas consideration in the writing, namely data analysis and data presentation. Expecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, informing conclusion, and supportive decision making. So the data presentation is a process of comparing two or more data sets with visual aids such as graphs. Using a graph, you can represent how the information relates to your data. This process follows data analysis and help organize information by visualizing and putting it into a more readable form. So the next is writing the conclusion. Conclusions are inference, deductions, abstractions, implications, interpretations, general statement, or generalizations based on findings. So in writing a conclusions that introduce new informations, instead your conclusions will restate your main points and provide closure. You may also offer suggestions on how your research can be expanded or improved. Don't mention the limitations of your study and their implications if not already addressed in the discussion sections of the paper. An example of which is all the teachers were qualified to teach in the high school, but the majority of them were not qualified to teach science. So the last one is writing the recommendation. The research recommendation is a part of paper where you make suggestions about the resolutions response to the research problem. It must be consents part of the conclusion. Recommendation and research are suggestions or solutions that address certain problems based on your study results. Discuss the importance of your research study and the difference it makes. Less specific action to be taken with regard to policy, practice, theory, or subsequent research. Recommendations are generally included both in your conclusion sections and in your discussion sections. However, if your research is more business oriented or practical in nature, you can also present them in a separate chapter or advisory report. So, in writing your conclusions, you need to emphasize the significance of the findings when discussing the implications, emphasize the practical or theoretical implications, use language that emphasize the importance of the findings and how they contribute to the broader field of study. For example, the study findings have important implication or for clinical practice and highlight the need for further research in this area. Second is tie back the introductions when concluding the findings back to the introduction by reminding readers of the original purpose of the research. This helps to provide closure to the research and emphasize the significance of the findings. Third is avoid introducing new information. It's important to avoid introducing new information in the conclusion as the confuse readers and contract from the key arguments of the research. Stick to summarizing the main findings, discussing the implications, acknowledge and limitations, and suggesting future research possibilities. The fourth is use clear and concise language. When making a conclusion, use clear and concise language. Avoid using language jargon or overly complex language. Instead, focus on using language accessible to a broad audience. The last one is end with a strong concluding statement. End your paper conclusion with a strong concluding statement that ties together the main points and emphasize their significance. That provide closure for the research and leaves readers with a fasting information impressions. Here is a conclusion in research. In writing your recommendations, the first thing is to clarify clarify the meaning of this term. It is a significant element in the research paper structures and is critical to your discussion sections and conclusions. While conducting research and analyzing gathered data, you may come across ideas or results that only partially align with the scope of your research topic. Alternatively, your findings offer possible implications or causal relationships between the aspect that covered in existing research.